Hey, I'm Bob at ILikeToMakeStuff. Today I'm going to show you how to mount your computer monitor on a swing arm. This monitor has a post to connect it to its stand. I didn't need the stand, but I did need the post. I set it on a piece of 2x4 to trace the kind of awkward shape that it has. And then on the chop saw, I cut off the piece of 2x4, leaving about 2 inches on each side of the shape. Using the bandsaw, I cut out that center shape, which was actually a little bit harder than I thought because there was no place for the wood chips to go. So I had to empty them out and go back and clean it up a little bit. I set the post to its fully leaned back position and then set the blade to the opposite angle. There's no need to measure it, just match it. Then I cut this angle off the back of the 2x4. I cut down 2 pieces of pine that together add up to half the width of the monitor. It'll connect in the center of the monitor, so this should let it pivot in both directions. Then I connected the 2 pieces with some 2.5-inch hinges. Then on the opposite face, I connected some strap hinges to one side. This side will attach to the wall, and these will help carry some of the weight of the monitor. I made some marks as to where the 2x4 should go, so I knew where to drill holes. I drilled 4 holes, but I wanted their angle to match the angle of the piece of wood, roughly. So I started the hole straight and then bent the bit back as I pushed it through the wood. I added some wood glue before setting the 2x4 in place and flipping it over to screw in. This was kind of awkward and it slid around a little bit and it was at an angle, so I had to realign it a couple of times to make sure that I had the pieces straight. Then I just screwed them together. I slid in the post, which was nice and snug, and that was about it. Then I just had to screw in the hinges directly to a stud. I used some 2-inch screws for this and probably could have even used longer ones for a little bit more strength. The monitor dropped right onto the post and then it was done. This type of mount is only going to work for a light monitor. This is a 24-inch monitor and it weighs 6 pounds. It's super light, super thin, and this type of a mount is perfect for this. If you have a larger screen, a larger TV that has a lot more weight to it, wood's not going to work here. You're going to need to make a metal frame and you're going to need to mount it totally differently. This works for a small monitor in a shop. That being said, for me and for this monitor, this is working very, very well. There's no drag, there's no hang, it seems to just be holding up nicely. So the computer that runs this is a used Mac Mini that I got off eBay. It doesn't need to do much, it doesn't need to be very powerful. You could use pretty much any computer you want, it's just a computer. Another computer you could use would be the Raspberry Pi. It's a $35 microcomputer. It would work just fine for surfing the web and watching videos and listening to music, things like that. And that would be a really, really cheap way to have a shop computer. Now the reason I didn't use a Raspberry Pi is because I want the shop computer to be able to control my CNC machine. I want to have the X-carve in here, use my software right next to it, and do everything in one room and not have to go back and forth to the office. Unfortunately, the Raspberry Pi doesn't run any of the software that I need for the CNC, so it wasn't really an option for me. So the Mac Mini has no trouble with dust or anything because it's actually in my office on the other side of this wall. I just poked a hole in the sheetrock and fed through an HDMI cable and a USB cable. The USB cable attaches to a USB hub that I have mounted to the back of the monitor. Having the USB hub is good because then I can connect anything I want to it in here in the shop. I can connect the CNC machine and a webcam. So I have this webcam in here, so hopefully soon I can start doing some live streaming from in the shop. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments down below. I've got a little Bluetooth speaker that I used to use for listening to music in the shop, and it's got an 1/8-inch jack on it, so I run the audio out of this into that speaker that gives me a small speaker in the shop as well. Now as far as a mouse and a keyboard, I use Bluetooth. These are both Apple products, but depending on what you're using, you can get any sort of Bluetooth keyboard or mouse, or in my case, I enjoy a trackpad more than I do a mouse, and this works great because there's no moving parts, there's nothing to get dust in. For the keyboard, I actually got a silicone cover that goes over the keyboard, and it helps keep some of the dust out from in between the keys. It's not going to keep it all out, but it definitely helps. I use some scotch tape along the top to kind of hold it in place. So far it seems to be doing pretty well. But having these Bluetooth allows me to use them anywhere in the shop. I can face the monitor to wherever I am and take these with me and do the work. So that's it. It's pretty simple, but it's actually made a really big difference in my shop so far. Being able to do CNC work right here is pretty awesome, and being able to watch videos while I'm doing work, catch up on my YouTube subscriptions, it's been really nice. So if you've got a different situation for your shop and you're mounting a monitor and you do it a different way, I would love to see it, and I would love for you to share it in the comments below and at ILikeToMakeStuff.com. We've got a lot more projects for you to check out and playlists and all sorts of stuff. I'd love to see some stuff you're working on, so please share it with me on any of the social networks. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.